Welcome, everyone. Today, Milena and I have a wonderful guest with us, Nellie Kerrison. She's the owner and founder of Relish Mama. Such a cool name. I love the name Relish Mama. Relish Mama is a cooking school and education platform created to educate and inspire others to cook beautiful and nutritious food, as well as to connect through food and memorable shared experiences. Relish Mama hosts classes, they have resources, they sell bespoke products as well that are designed to empower absolutely everybody to connect through food, including myself and my husband. We actually have a book, Relish Mama book, which I'm sure we'll share some nutritious recipes from that book. And Relish Mama also provide guidance and products and skills. They actually teach you how to cook, to create these exciting, nutritious meals from the staples you already have in your home, as well as to inspire you and excite you to uncover new cuisine flavors. Welcome, Nellie.
Thank you, Giovanna. Thanks, Milena. It's lovely to be here.
So today we wanted to really showcase Relish Mama because I know there are so many business owners out there who may be in similar situations where they have this, they build this great community, they have this great business, and then overnight COVID happens and some challenges that happen in the business that they need to overcome, and they need to learn how to overcome these challenges. And I think you have done such an amazing job in building Relish Mama from your kitchen, from your home, and into something really powerful, big community. And you have this amazing community behind you that support you throughout the pandemic as well. And so I thought your story would definitely resonate, and to have you as a guest is really a blessing for us today.
Thank you.
So I thought maybe the first question would be, let's start early on, when Relish Mama began. I really love the name Relish Mama. And so how did you come up with that name?
It's funny because everyone thinks that I should probably change the name, but it's too late now. Everyone thinks it is because I'm a mama. Well, yes, I am. I'm a mother to three amazing daughters who are all teenagers now. But I've always loved the word relish. It just means zest for life, and it's all encompassing. And I think that's very much what I'm about and what we're about as a community and a family. So that beautiful zest for life, that connection, and relishing all those beautiful experiences and connections throughout our lives. And Mama just seemed to fit. The word relish was probably taken, but yeah, Relish Mama worked really well. But it's so funny because I get people asking, and we do make relish, so don't get me wrong, we have amazing relishes, but it's that's not our main business arm. The main business arm is the beautiful food experiences that we offer.
Oh, great. And so how did you start? What are the early beginnings of Relish Mama?
Well, I've got my background before Relish Mama is business, so I'm from corporate, but I grew up with an amazing, well, she's still here. My mum is a beautiful cook, and so are both my grandmothers who are still alive. My eldest grandmother just turned 100, and our whole upbringing was around shared tables, beautiful food. There wasn't a lot of money, to be honest, so my grandparents, particularly my mum's parents, grew a lot of their food, and I distinctly remember walking into, they moved a lot house-wise, and I just remember walking into their backyard on summer days and just how hot it would be, like the heat radiating off the concrete, and just smelling the tomatoes. Like, that's so entrenched, it's just a part of me. And it wasn't till I grew up or became a working adult that I knew how ingrained that was, and really appreciated that, and more so when I had my own three beautiful daughters, that I really wanted to share that with more and more people. My experiences I really wanted to share to a much bigger community, I guess. So we started in my home. So Etty was one at the time, which was kind of nuts because I had three children under 4 years old, and starting your own business was a little bit crazy. So we started in my home, and I sent an email out. One of my closest friends encouraged me to send an email out. She said, "You just seem to do this so easily, and I would love to learn from you." it's like, sure, so we'll invite a few others. And within, I don't know, like it was crazy, sort of within 5 or 10 minutes after me putting this email out saying, this is what I'd love to do and I'd love to share it with you, without realizing it was a class, the first class sold out within 10 minutes. And that just had this incredible snowball effect. And I think because it was in my home and it started with such a tiny but beautiful community, those first people loved the experience so much that, word of mouth at its very best. So it was incredible. The business grew very much. We got a lot of press coverage while we were in the home, so that obviously helped us a lot. But it became a little bit nuts. So Michael, as I said, my girls were so little, but they were young enough that I could feed them, dinner before the class might start. Say then it might have been 7 o'clock. But then they were young enough that they could go up the front of the house, sleep, and I could run a class with all these people in the house, and they slept like babies, literally. And now I couldn't even imagine it. So I've got an 18-year-old that drives, so there's no way we're going to be up the front of the house, no one come down. They'd be helping now. So after 3 years running it from home, and it got too big certainly for our home, we fitted out a beautiful warehouse, and it was really important that I wanted it to stay very close to our home, because, mothering 3 children and running your own business is pretty full on. So I needed to be really close. And I also wanted to keep that community close and know that, geographically that was not a problem for them. So Relish Mama, we fitted out a warehouse, and it's on the same road as us, so Bay Road in Cheltenham. And it's beautiful. It's another extension of our home. So you absolutely go in, and I know, Yvonne, you've been there. Milena, you haven't yet. You'll have to go. Oh, you have, Milena.
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a commercial kitchen. It's a full commercial kitchen, but you wouldn't feel that. You absolutely, I want you to walk in and feel like it's an extension of my home and your home. So it should be very, what we teach there and what we share there, I hope that it empowers people to feel confident to do so in their own home.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember your first customer?
Well, I do, but my first customer was probably this best friend, a really close friend that encouraged me to run the class. So she was certainly the first one that signed up. The other one, which was absolutely beautiful, was my sister. So, you have to be really brave. We've got this family saying it's just 20 seconds of embarrassing courage. So, and my girls live by that as well. So whenever they're questioning something, we just go, what's our family motto? And it's just 20 seconds of embarrassing courage. So, yep, it's that real, okay, just press send. And I even felt really vulnerable. And you are, what if no one wants this? Am I making a fool of myself? And my sister, within a few minutes, was the first one to write back. And I actually wrote that in my first cookbook. It was so meaningful. She, without me knowing that I was going to do this, wrote back and just said, I couldn't be more proud of you. I'm going to cry and I'll be there. So, and that was almost the response of most people. I think people genuinely want you to be happy and follow your passions.
Yeah, and that was, how long ago was that when you first started? I saw on the website was 2009, right?
Yeah,
that's
April
around that
2009.
time.
So we've just turned 12.
Was that before social media? Were you using social media at the time?
No,
and
we had a really crappy website that I built myself from an off-the-shelf product. And so, no, a lot of it was just absolutely word of mouth. We had the website. It was, flyers in the neighbourhood. I think Instagram came around that time, but I certainly remember having a Relish Mama Facebook page before Instagram was even around. And I really had to be taught. I remember sitting down with my sister going, is this for me? Should I learn Instagram? And now it's, can you imagine not having Instagram or social media with a business?
Yeah, wonderful for the business. Makes you visible to the world.
Now I wonder whether we should have TikTok. There's a TikTok, and there is what's the other one that Clubhouse.
Clubhouse, yeah. So that I'd only heard about that a few weeks ago, actually. But it's funny that you say TikTok. My kids last week, Gracie was cooking dinner, and I said, "Oh my gosh, where did you get this recipe?" Because it wasn't one of mine. And she said, "Oh, it was on TikTok." And she said, "Mum, you should be on it." And I said, "Oh, you sure?" And she said, "Yeah, you should." So I'm on it. It's so funny in this conversation. No, I signed up yesterday, but I've signed up anonymously just so I can stalk everyone and see what's going on before I put anything out there.
a good idea.
Yeah, good.
So you can't find me.
I've seen a lot of recipes from on your website from Morocco, from
Tuscany.
Tuscany, Italian cuisine. There's just a diverse range of cuisine of
Yeah.
different types of recipes you have on the website. So they all look very delicious. And I love reading them, but I haven't made anything yet.
Oh, you have to.
Yes, I will try. I will try to make one of them. At my household, we don't really cook that much. My husband and I, we just want like really quick meals.
Yes.
So I think at Relish Mama, do you have anything like to give people as busy professionals who don't have time to cook? Do you offer recipes for busy people?
Oh, absolutely. And that's, that I honestly live and breathe that myself with three teenage
yes.
children. So, but it's we like to teach people the skills and to take the stress out of it, which I can talk to you about my husband in a minute because he was Exhibit A last night cooking for us. But to take the stress out of it and to do a bit of food prep. So, yeah, one of our biggest classes is called Midweek Inspiration, and we're about to start offering that online as well. But that's just, lots of quick, simple dishes that are really nutritious. So you can have quick and simple dishes that aren't nutritious. So, people might just have a bowl of pasta. There's not a lot of nutritional value in that. So, yeah, that is a huge part for us. And the cookbooks as well, as much as they've got some really amazing, Middle Eastern inspired or Italian inspired, recipes, a lot of it, particularly family, the second cookbook is lots of delicious recipes that are really, really quick. And we talk you through prep that you could do in advance to speed things up at the start of the week to make it not so daunting, I guess, when you're racing in from work and really hungry and then might make some poorer choices than you would have liked to, say, on Monday when you had the best of intentions to eat really well through the whole week.
I have your book, and I was actually going to bring it because to show you the book, because this is actually going to be on YouTube as well. So if you're listening, make sure you go to the YouTube channel and you can see Nellie's book. I'm going to show it as soon as Corey brings it to me.
You estimating in the background.
Yeah, but I was going to say Corey cooks in our household, and we absolutely love that recipe that you have in the book with the lentils and cauliflower. It's the curry cauliflower and lentil.
Cauliflower curry. Yeah, that's lovely.
That's very quick to make, Milena.
Okay, you have to share it with me then.
Vegetarian, Yovana?
We prefer vegetarian. I would say 5 or 6 years ago, I was actually into raw food. Corey and our diet was 80% raw. We would just eat salads and juices, green juices.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt the best. I have to say, I felt the best. And before that, Milena and I were into bodybuilding. And so in our 20s, all we ate was meat, really.
It would be very protein rich.
Yeah.
Yes. So I wanted to prove 5 years ago that I can build muscle just eating veggies. And then when you cook food, it tastes so different to the raw food. And it's actually more addictive, I find, the cooked food. Like you actually want to eat more.
Yes.
And the raw food always made me full. So now we have a combination. We'll have veggies and we'll have mostly fish diet. Yeah.
Fantastic.
But I wanted to go to a cooking class and do a cooking class with you. So I'm assuming before pandemic, you were quite booked out with cooking classes.
Yes, we were. So that's been, obviously, that's what the whole core of the business is cooking experiences. So we're predominantly here, but also overseas. And I'm so grateful that we had a really lovely reputation and we were booked out, extensively. So we would have to put almost our year schedule in advance to allow people to get into, the various classes that they wanted to get into. And we're very slowly rebuilding that. So obviously with, COVID, damn it, we didn't do classes last year in the same light. So we were closed for 9 months. So that was really devastating for the business, but we're navigating a new path.
Yes. Before the COVID, let's go back to the good times. What would people expect to get when they go to one of your classes? Do you take the classes? Are you instructing people on how to cook, or do you have other chefs?
Oh, both. So we've got I've got an amazing team of chefs. So none of them are with us at the moment, which I'm sure we'll get to, as a result of not having classes all for 2020. But we have the most incredible chefs, and all, with their own skills and talents, and cultural backgrounds. So, we might have beautiful Quen, who is teaching Vietnamese cooking, and Chef Beck, who, would be teaching incredible Asian dishes, Middle Eastern dishes, all the rest. So when people would, there was a huge variety on the website. People would arrive, and it was beautiful to see their faces, because I think they were thinking, oh gosh, it's, I'm going to have my own working station, and well, not necessarily, but they would arrive and we'd, give them a welcome drink, whether that be a beautiful glass of champagne or non-alcoholic drink, if that was their preference. And it was just, we wanted them to feel like they were entering our home, and that they wouldn't that we would mingle and get to know each other and connect. And you could just see people arrive and just go, oh, like really, just almost deflating, going, oh, this is nice. It was a really nice experience for them. And then we've got this amazing, huge marble bench. So everyone would sit around, very communal style, around that. And the chef obviously teaching the class. And some classes were really hands-on, and some classes were a mix of both, or more demonstration, depending on the class and what someone wanted to get out of that. And then obviously the best part, after we'd cooked everything, they would sit down at our gorgeous table and have, a really beautiful meal we have cooked in class, and a glass of wine. And that is honestly one of my most beautiful moments and memories of Relish Mama, is when I look out at that table and everyone's cheering, and they're so, strangers often that have never met, and they're connecting through food, they're talking about, this incredible shared experience, but they're celebrating, and it could be a Monday or Tuesday night. It's really special to see the way that food brings people together. So corporate's a very lovely part of our business. So we have private events. Last year we did more of our corporates online when people were connecting over Zoom, which was fantastic. It was so good to see, companies or corporations changing the way that they connect. But really, I think last year, more than any time that I've ever noticed, they really understood the importance of that. People weren't in the workspace. More people are working from home now, and they're not together. So they really understand just how crucial that is to productivity and, people feeling that connection. It's so important. So we were doing in-house and Zoom, and just very, very recently we had, for the first time, an in-house corporate class, which was just divine to be able to welcome people back up. Some of them didn't know the experience that we had last year. So they're walking up the stairs. I'm trying to fight back tears, because these people don't know me except for the CEO. And once they knew, we were talking to them around the bench, and they were just so beautiful. And people want people to succeed and, come back from Corona. So it's actually, it's really important, I think, to share your stories, and for people to understand the importance of, businesses returning and supporting those businesses.
Yeah, because I remember you always having all these inquiries and the phones ringing and people wanting to book, and you're always booked out. Just remember how busy you were with all these events that people were looking to book. And I can see it. Cooking classes would bring the teams together. And when you are obviously working from home, you feel isolated in a way with not being close, so not having that rapport that you normally have with your colleagues. And yeah, so that's very important for corporates to engage with you.
And even, families, when we did our first online classes last year, which we'd never done before, and we started with a gnocchi class, and there was a lady that was just so beautiful to watch. I had all the screens going as we were cooking, and we were talking with each other. We were even having a glass of wine. A lot of these, we were in absolute lockdown in Victoria. So a lot of these people, as it turns out, were living on their own. And this was their one, thing that they did for that week, or the first person that they'd seen and actually spoken to, other than talking to themselves. And this lady had been by herself for quite a few weeks. And in the end, I was, thank you so much for being here. And she got quite emotional, and she sent me a letter afterwards and just said, I cannot tell you what it was like to be able to see all these other people and have this experience. So, it's companies, but it's also us to be really mindful of people, that are on their own or, have had a really hard time in lockdown or, struggling working from home, parenting, particularly those in Victoria would really understand where I'm at right now, parents that were homeschooling that, really needed that glass of wine and the bowl of gnocchi.
Get out. But yeah, we actually have listeners all over the world. So this is not just Australia. And I think other parts of the world are now probably experiencing lockdown or,
absolutely.
It's just everyone will be feeling it.
Yeah.
And so I was curious to know, when it all happened, because your business really was that face-to-face connection, being close. And then all of a sudden we couldn't do that. Like it was overnight. You couldn't really do that anymore. You couldn't hug your friend. So what happened? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, sure. So it did stop pretty much overnight. And the challenging part for us was, well, that was the core of our business, and suddenly we didn't have that business. I feel it's bittersweet because in January I had spent all of 2019 growing another business and developing another business called Relish Mama Ready-Made Meals. And competition is great. We had way too much competition that we never ever saw coming because no one saw a pandemic coming. So we launched that at the end of January or early February, I think, and then obviously lockdown in March. So we'd had maybe 4 weeks of this, infant business that then just suddenly, that was our core business, but we were still finding our way and hoping that was always the plan that would run alongside, our business that was really successful and well established. And it was really hard. Like it was amazing. Like we were making really lovely home cooked meals, and our community, those when they could go out, we were deemed suddenly an essential service, which no pressure. So our community could come and pick up on Wednesdays and Fridays the meals. So we had 2 cook-ups. That became just too intense. So we ended up having our delivery days and pick-up days would be Friday, and we would cook all week. We would open our shop and people could still come and pick up meals. And we were really struggling financially, so we couldn't employ. It was physically intense. I was, without a word of a lie, I was at Relish Mama every day last week from 3:30 in the morning, and it was just full on to try to get those meals out, and to keep peddling and hoping that we would get to the other side. We just didn't know how long that pedal was going to be, which turned out to be November, December really for us, because we're in a different industry. We don't typically fall under hospitality. So we were in this really grey space. So even at the times where hospitality could reopen, we, as it turns out, couldn't reopen. So it took a lot. I had a member of my team, Angela, who was just incredible, that was on the phone to DHH&S every day, sort of, where are we at, what's happening, and just putting ourselves on their map because we just weren't there. So yeah, we did ready-made meals last year. Which our community were unbelievable and so supportive of us. So we would never have got to where we got without them. And I must say my family were incredible. So my brother and my dad, every Friday, both of them working, would come down and just volunteer their day and deliver. And that was beautiful. I'd get emails and phone calls from people going, just met your dad. Oh my God, he's hysterical. He's beautiful. He's a real hoot. So I think he was really cheering people up that were in lockdown with his wisecracks as he was delivering their food. And my brother the same. My sister gave up a couple of weeks' work. She's got a pretty intense job, and she's got a food background as well. So she was, in the kitchen in those early days, trying to help us find our rhythm and keep up with what we were keeping up with. And then we also started online classes, which were just, as I was talking before, which were really, really special.
How long did you have the online classes for?
We probably didn't start them until maybe August. Okay. And that's a lesson that is one of my hindsight lessons that, there's no hindsight's pointless really, but in the perfect world, I wish we had have had online up before COVID, and that's a big part of moving forward, that I want to continue that, because they're really beautiful. We've been cooking last year with people in Italy, and I've had people that we've done, have been our hosts overseas that are joining, our Zoom classes, and we're cooking together, and it's really special, and they're having such a tough time that it's so divine to be able to support each other on the other side of the world. So that's been, I guess, an eye-opener for me, that to just stop and go, okay, we were so geographically focused and based that if there's any positives that have come out of Corona, and there have been a few, but if there's any positives, that for me has been one of them, to really open our experiences up and to not restrict ourselves to being so geographically based.
How did your customers take it, when that all happened?
The recess, or the
when you had to, obviously, the pandemic, obviously you had to stop physical face-to-face type of connection, and you had to go online. How did that?
So we didn't go online for a few months. Honestly, our community, we would not be here if it weren't for we have the most loyal, beautiful community, and I just cannot thank them enough. I actually had one of our customers that she's done 17 classes with me, and she actually phoned yesterday to just, because we're not back to our full capacity, and just, I miss you and how you going. That just is divine. Most of them were fantastic. Everyone that knew us and had been with us on the journey was so supportive. They were buying ready-made meals. They were sending messages. If we were on social media going, okay, this is where we're at, it was just overwhelming, almost, that love and support that we felt. A big lesson for me, I'm probably naive to unkind, I'm just, my big thing to my children when they're, a bit torn is I just say to them, just choose kindness. That's how we roll. So I found it a bit unsettling, some of the unkindness we were shown, and I don't want to be negative, and I don't want to shame, anyone in particular. I just think that people were dealing with their own pain last year and probably responding in ways that they might not respond normally, and not necessarily looking at, we were a small business really doing our very, very best. And so that was tricky, but, over time, we're dealing with that. That's okay.
There's more good ones though.
100%. Yeah. It's just that the not so nice ones at the time, they scream a little bit louder. And because of the person that I am, that really sticks with me. So I'm having to do a lot of self work on not allowing it to stick too much without putting up a wall, because that's not me.
Yeah, that's same with online. Like, you expect when you're putting yourself out there, you have to be vulnerable. You're judged, you're being looked at by other people, and but how do you? So I'll jump to my question. How do you translate that cooking experience from having that physical classes to online classes?
So we paused in November, just to go back a little bit. We our biggest challenge, and I don't know even know if you want to know, we found that we couldn't trade out of the pandemic. So we'd been peddling. I was absolutely exhausted without realising how fatigued I was, and I got advice. I was like, what do we do? What do we pivot to now? Because we still can't open. And our biggest issue was we couldn't trade out. We had gift vouchers for any business, no matter how big or small you are. They're valid for 3 years, and that changed in 2019. And we also had almost a year's worth of classes that had been booked in advance that we had to, this year and, going forward, it was suddenly really apparent and devastating that we couldn't trade out of that. So we were advised it would take 4 years for us to be viable again. That is still the case now, because we have got so many vouchers and so many, people that missed their class to make up for that. So that was really devastating. And I put out a video in November because there was no way I was going to be able to write about it. It just was too raw. So I had to put a message out to our community, and it was very, very sudden to just say we needed to pause, we needed to recess, we needed to look at the bigger picture. And I did have to ask, and it was it was so hard for me to do because I really struggle asking anyone for help. Was to ask that if anyone did have a voucher or a class that they could forego, if that was possible. That would do everything, it would mean so much for us to rebuild. And oh my God, crying. That was huge. That was, I've never ever, outside of my own family and friends, felt such, and oh God, I can't believe I'm crying. Yes, I can't believe I'm crying. Such an outpouring of love. It was really, really beautiful. So it's only now in the last sort of month or so that I'm in a position now. I was diagnosed with adrenal fatigue, and that, that was obviously just waiting to happen. So there's been a lot of grief and a lot of, a lot of lessons learned. But now I think I'm widening the lens and looking at, okay, what can we do to come back? How can we do it smarter? How can we do it with the heart that we've always had and we want to maintain in our business? But COVID, we can't go back to just the core of our business being in-house classes. So the online classes we will grow and, increase our offering, but it would also be lovely. We're going to do some pre-recorded classes that people can, do at their own pace. We'll do some in-house classes, obviously, but I guess that's been the change. It's given me a little bit of time to step back, widen the lens, make sure that whatever we do, it has to reflect our values and just create, we've created a bit of space to look at that. So the business is the new business is a work in progress, but I feel we're not done, and I feel like we've got too much to give. And I honestly wouldn't have said that back in November. I just felt such grief that I thought we were done. But I do feel like this is a really special business. And I do feel like we've got so much more to give. So it's becoming exciting, even though it's daunting. It's exciting to think of what might be ahead for us, but particularly our community and the beautiful people that have helped us along the way.
What advice? That sounds really very powerful story. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, I'm speechless. Yeah. Very brave. May I just say that you're very brave, Nellie. As I'm listening to you, I just see a brave woman, strong and brave woman.
Courage.
I would be so, I don't know if I would react the same way or I would behave in the same way as you are now. I probably would quit. I don't know. I'm just saying, I feel like as though I'm weaker as a person to make such major decisions around business, it's just.
Oh, and I will not pretend that I was here even a month ago. But there's a lot to be said for rest. I think rest is so underrated, and God, I was never someone that rested, but I was forced to rest. I couldn't get out of bed once we announced the recess. It was the pure exhaustion of suddenly, I really just felt it when we could stop suddenly, but I had immense grief as well. So rest is key. And, this is 5 months now, which I can't believe since. So a lot happens in that time. And, stepping back, I've never stopped working because obviously I don't have a team at the moment. There's no one in the office. There's no admin team anymore. There are no chefs. So it is really still busy, responding to customers and all the rest. But with every part of my being, at one point I went, I think I have to go get another job. And then I thought, oh my God, no one wants me to work. No, it's not no one wants. I don't think I could. I think I'd struggle working for someone else after building such a beautiful business. So I feel a little, I really, as I said, it's a work in progress, but I feel really excited about what lies ahead, and it will continue to evolve. So sorry, I digress. My lessons were that leaning on your family and your community, even if you're someone like me that really struggles to accept help. I wrote them down because I knew that I'd probably get emotional at one point. Say yes to help. And my big lesson, it wasn't really a lesson, but it was such a wow, was how amazing my family, my team in particular that were with me at the time, and our community are. They really got us through, and my team, you know, they were incredible. And the other lesson, which I hate having to say, but to get me through where people were a little bit unkind, is the saying, hurt people hurt people. So that was a lesson, but also something that really gives you strength when you have to go, this is perhaps not as much about me as it might be for them, and they've got some, you know, they've had an awful time too.
Yeah, you have to empathize with those people as well.
Yeah, definitely.
No, that's beautiful. And that reminds me of, I think I mentioned it in my previous episode about Pauline Nguyen. And I mentioned it to you, the mentor I had over Christmas period. And she's all about this idea of calm courage.
Yes.
And building this confidence. Confidence is a callus. So every time we, encounter a challenge or an obstacle, it's another lesson for us to learn and to build the confidence and to grow and to develop. And when you said that calm courage was really just you operating as you normally do while the world is in chaos, and you dealing with it in a very powerful, strong way. So yeah, that was a very well. Thank you so much for reminding me, because last week I was so busy and somebody said, you should take a rest. And I'm like, of course, Pauline always says the right things, but she says rest is a weapon.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more, particularly now. She's a wise woman.
Yes. And so I know that we've gone a bit over time, but I wanted to really ask you, what is the best advice that you have received that has stuck with you throughout your career?
Throughout my career. Not necessarily throughout my career, but the one at any time in my life, I've got this above my desk that says you are exactly where you need to be. And I think it's good, bad, happy, sad. It's I always go back to that little message above my desk, particularly in these last 5 months, that I don't know, there's a lot of lessons that I have learned out of this, that I know that I'm exactly where I need to be, and that's okay, because I can also have a hesitancy to want to rush things and get back and open the doors and let's do 7 classes a week, but just need to slow down, and I'm exactly where I need to be.
Mm-hmm. Is this the advice you would give to other business owners who are going through the same challenges?
Business owners, it's probably a little bit different. That's probably more my life mantra is, I'm exactly where I need to be. Business owners, widen the lens and look for ways to continue to innovate, particularly after last year, in the most amazing ways. So not necessarily just innovation for innovation's sake. Look at your values, look at the purpose of your business, and if you can innovate amazingly.
Awesome. That's a really powerful.
Honestly, business owners who just keep peddling, and I was one of them, create the space to grieve if you have to grieve, and let something go to create something even more special.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Nellie. It's been a pleasure talking with you today. And I also have the book. I'm going to show it. So if you're on YouTube, you can see. Where can they go and buy your book? You probably can't see because it's back to front.
So that's the second one. There's 2 books. There's Relish Mama Shed Table, which is the first book, which is a green spine, and that's Relish Mama Family, the second book. So thank you for sharing that. But on the website, you can get our products and books on our website. And I'm very happy. I actually wrote down a code somewhere. So I'd love to offer your subscribers 20% off. So if they put in bumper 20 in the shopping cart, and they could get 20% off an online class or a cookbook. But yeah, both of those are available on the cookbook, not the cookbook website. And we'll be slowly adding a few more products that code would be relevant for also.
Oh, great. That's a very generous offer. Thank you so much. So I'll include the link in the show notes, and it will be your website, relishmama.com.au.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And then /bumper 20. Yes. And I think for global audience, you'll be able to ship products to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Fantastic.
Thank you for anything that you do, and for those that don't know, these beautiful ladies have helped me return to business, and thank you for all the smarts that you help businesses to put in place and achieve. You're both just divine to work with.
Oh, thank you so much.